back with day 3. I hope you guys have loved hearing from my friends this week. Today I have another Bob to introduce you to, Bob Lenz. And fun fact about Bob Lenz is he loves talking about his grandkids. That's probably because he has 12 of them. Today he's going to be sharing with us on identity and value. If you haven't been entering to win in the giveaways, man, you guys are missing out. So don't forget, look for the questions and DM only 7 seconds because you just might win a t-shirt or a Starbucks gift card. Pay attention because we're asking a special question during the video. When you have the answer, you're going to DM only 7 seconds on Instagram or text the number on the screen. Every day you enter, you could win a daily prize, plus you get an entry for the grand prize. That means you could have up to 4 entries for the grand prize. All you guys gotta do is watch some videos and you get to win some really cool prizes.
Hey, good morning. Is it morning? I don't even know. It's just really good to be with you. Well, I know we're not together, but this is the best we can do with this situation, right? So I hope things are going okay with you doing school online and on video and the best we can do. I wish we were at your school. I wish we were in your auditorium or in your gymnasium sitting there and just having a good time, but the best we can do. So I'm Bob Lenz. It's good to be with you. And you know, just even here, they tell me that cameras put on 10 pounds. And I know when I walk into the room, girls don't go, wow, look at that. I mean, when I walk in the room, they go, wow, what is that? But I am so glad to be here today. And what I want to talk about to start with is knowing who you are, that you have dignity and worth and value. But I know that people have embarrassing moments. Like a friend of mine shared one from San Marie, California. This guy and girl were on their first date. They just started dating. They went out to a movie. Remember the days you could actually go to a movie and not just watch online? But they went to this movie and it was their first date and they were kind of nervous. So don't worry, teachers that are watching, it was a good movie, rated G, Bambi, Part 3. No, that's a good flick. Could you imagine if the creators, producers of Jason or Freddy, the old horror movies, would have got a hold of a good movie like Bambi? It'd be like this, Bambi, Part 3. Bambi kills Thumper. No, I'm sorry, that's bad. No, pick up movies that go along with your family and their values, especially while we're watching so much on Netflix right now, right? But they were sitting there and the guy was kind of nervous. And I don't know what it is about our anatomy, but when we get nervous, we need to go to the restroom. But he was a real gentleman. So he said, excuse me, I need to go to the restroom. By the way, that word gentleman seems to be disappearing in America today. The only time I see the word gentleman is on the restroom door. Oh, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of wimps in society that won't stand for what they believe is right. And there's still a lot of macho guys who think it's not manly to show an emotion or a tear or an embrace. But there's not a lot of gentle, compassionate, sensitive men who are gentle enough to be strong and strong enough to be gentle. If I'm right, there's some girls going right now going, where is he? Guys, let's be gentlemen. He was a gentleman. Got up, said, excuse me, went to the restroom, no problem, came back and he sat down. But when he sat down, he realized his fly was open. Oh, what do? You just can't zip your zipper up sitting in the theater seat. He didn't want to stand up and say, excuse me for a minute. He said, I know what I'll do. I'll ask her if I want some popcorn or some soda. If she says yes, I'll just put my hand in my zipper, stand up, zip it up, walk away, no problem. You want some popcorn or some soda? She's like, sure. So he puts his hand on the zipper, stands up, zips it up, no problem, starts walking out. All of a sudden, the girl in front of him, her hair was stuck in his zipper. Oh, what do you do, guys? You get something stuck in your zipper. What do you do? You can't just go, I'm sorry, here's your hair back. He didn't know what to do, so he's trying to get it out. What could the girl do? She could walk out like this. Let's go, right? True story. The usher heard the commotion. The usher came down the aisle with a flashlight. The usher saw what was going on, turns on the lights, turns off the movie. and in front of a packed theater got a pair of scissors and cuts her hair from his zipper. You can't make that up. It really happened. And the whole audience stood up and gave him a standing ovation. One of the places I get these is when we used to be able to come to schools with trained peer facilitators, peer helpers. Here's why. 90% of students who are struggling in life, maybe because mom and dad are split up or dealing with anxiety or depression or even self-harm, they turn to a friend first. So we train friends on how to help a friend, and we're to turn for referrals and help. But we'll just sit around in a circle and everybody go around and share an embarrassing moment. We'll sit and laugh, and man, we need to laugh nowadays, right? But afterwards, when the group is broken up and there's maybe just one person left, I'll say something like this. Now that everybody's gone, is there maybe a most embarrassing moment that you didn't share with the whole group? And almost every single time they'll say something like, yeah. I'm like, come on, tell. It's got to be good if you don't want anyone to know. And they're like, I'm like, why not? I'll put it in my next book. And they're like, no, Bob. I'm like, why not? They're like, because Bob, for me, it's not a most embarrassing moment, but I'm embarrassed about who I am as a person. And at that time, there's usually a tear that comes down their face. If not, if they hide their feelings and emotions and wear those masks, like sometimes you and I do, if you have the eyes have been trained through love to penetrate that mask and see the heart, there's still a tear that comes from the heart. And I start realizing how many people weren't living life to the fullest, how many people didn't even believe they had any dignity. And I thought, what makes a difference? What makes something a most embarrassing moment for one person? And the next person's embarrassed about who they are as a person. I think I found it. It's the element of choice. See, all of us have a most embarrassing moment. Even if it's just walking down the hall, you trip and your books go flying. If you've ever done that, you know what I'm talking about, right? Your books go flying, your hands go out, you catch yourself. The first thing you do is you look around to see who saw. And if somebody saw you, just kind of go, you feel like a dork. Yeah, that's my laugh. You walk away. That's an embarrassing moment. But that same person trips. The books go flying. Your arms come out to catch you. You look to see who saw. And then you look back. And you see a group of students staring and pointing and laughing. And one person has their legs stuck out. And they did it intentionally, on purpose. Please hear me. When you use your choices to hurt, humiliate, make fun of, put down, harass, degrade, or bully another human being, people become embarrassed about who they are as a person. There's a wrong philosophy in society. It goes something like this. You want to feel good about yourself? Put down somebody else and make yourself look better. It doesn't work in the long run, but so many people use, even me in my own school. Like our high school football team, remember when you can play football? Our team went 4 years in a row without losing a game. And I started until the final playoff game. And I started. I felt pretty good about that. But there's one guy on our team, he wasn't that good. His name was Jack. Still is. But Jack wasn't good. I'm not making fun of Jack. It's just not where his gifts or talents were. And I don't know how to say this politically correct, but in our small town in Wisconsin, if you're a guy and had any size, you played football. And if not, you were labeled and called names. So he wanted to be a part of the team so bad that he came out early. He stayed late just to make the team. Well, he made the team because the coach never cut anybody. But you think the starters made him feel accepted? I wish I could say yes. Instead, they laughed at him. They made fun of him. They used him as a blocking dummy. They had a lot of fun at his expense. One day after practice, I went and I took a drink of water. I'll demonstrate now. I took a drink of water and somebody said, hey, Bob, look at Jack. So I looked. Some of the other starters had taken Jack and hung him by the fence post, by his jockstrap. I hate to tell you this, but I started to laugh. I know it was wrong, but everybody's looking at him and you know, everybody around, we're walking by and everybody was laughing because there he was and his legs and his arms were just dangling from the fence. I hate to admit it, but I start laughing with everybody else until I walk by And I walked by and looked up and I saw how embarrassed he was. And I saw tears coming down. I thought, nobody deserves that. Jack didn't deserve. Jack never did anything to hurt her team. He would have done anything just to fit in, just to belong. You know the number one reason they say that people join gangs today is? For a sense of belonging, purpose, family, team. You know what I think is sad? Some gangs after initiation would have treated Jack better than our football team and our school treated him. But I shared that school one year and somebody said, Bob, you got to finish that story. I said, what do you mean? They said, you got to talk about how you helped him down and became his friend. I said, I can't do that. He said, why not? I said, because all my stories are true. And even though I knew what they were doing was wrong, I didn't help them. When I was walking by to get into the locker room, I looked up when I saw those tears. I hate to tell you this, but this way, I looked away. Why? I didn't have enough guts to stand up for him. I didn't have not enough guts to do what I knew was right. I was a innocent bystander instead of standing up for him. And I was just as guilty as the people put him up there. But you know what? That's why I'm here today. I'm not here to tell you what to do or what not to do. Why didn't I help him? Who did I say put him up there? Some of the other starters, right? The guys I wanted to be like. The guys I wanted to be in with. See, even if you don't like this talk today, you got to know one thing. I'm honest. I know what kind of guy that I am. I never liked who I was. I wanted to be like another one of my friends, Ronnie. See, Ronnie was good looking. Ronnie was 5'10", dark hair, dark skin, and he was built. That's not on my resume. But not only was Ronnie good looking, he was athletic. He could take 2 steps and do a flip. I can take 100 steps and I can't do a flip. But not only was Ronnie good looking, athletic, he was also one of those guys I had a hard time with in school. See, Ronnie, I don't know if what's like in your state, but in my state, when you get your driver's license, if you have a B honor roll or better, your insurance is lower. So my dad said to me, Bob, you don't get a B, you don't get insurance. You don't get insurance, you don't get the car. So one semester I gave it 110%. I took books home and I studied in study hall. There's an idea. But when I gave it 110%, teachers, you know this is true for some students. I gave it all and I just made a B minus. Ronnie never took books home, never studied in study hall, and he still got A's and A pluses. I thought, man, I just want to be like him. But not only was Ronnie good looking, athletic, and intelligent, his parents had money. But I came home from a talk just like this a few years ago. When I got home, it was 10:30 at night. And my older brother, Bill, who was 6 years older than I was, doesn't come over at 10:30 at night, just say, hey, he was there. And I knew something was wrong. I'm like, Bill, what's up? He said, Bob, it's Ronnie. And I'm like, is he okay? He's like, Bob, Ronnie's dead. Please hear me. I can't find a talk that'll take away all your problems. I can't find a talk that'll take away this pandemic. I can't find a talk that'll open everything back up. But you got to know something. You don't have to let any problem take away. I can't find a talk that'll take away your pain and your problems and the past. But you don't have to let your problems, pain, or past, and even what we're going through, take away your choices. Because your choices will dictate your future. And that's where your dignity is found. But nothing got me ready for what he said next. I said, how'd it happen? He said, Bob, Ronnie went out and he got drunk. And he took his own life. They didn't show his body at the funeral. But his parents, because Ronnie called me his best friend, asked if I'd go to the funeral with him. Wickman's Funeral Home, Appleton, Wisconsin, is 30 miles away from Lambeau Field, the Packers. Walked in Ronnie's mom and dad on one side and his girlfriend on the next. And then came Ronnie, not with 2 steps and a flip, but on a cold metal cart in a blue body bag. They unzipped that bag and there my friend laid, never to laugh again, never to flip again. Never to go through a hard time with friends again. And 2 things hit me really hard. Number 1, if Ronnie can't live life to the fullest, if Ronnie didn't know he had any dignity, then how can Bob? But I think I found out why. The second thing, I was like, how can I have a good identity if Ronnie can't? And I'm like, why didn't he? He was good looking, athletic, intelligent. His parents had money. And I found out what it was. His mom, I think, got a guilt start telling about Ronnie's childhood. Said when he was little, if he did anything wrong, she would hit him. Not spank him or discipline him, hit him. No one ever deserves to be hit. When he was 3 years old, he spilt the milk. And she went to backhand him, and he put his elbow up to protect himself. And the back of her elbow hit his hand. And she said, I lost it. And she started hitting, kicking, and slugging her own 3-year-old little child. Took him and threw him against the wall. By the time she regained control of the anger, he was so black and blue and bloody that it kept him in the house for a month so that nobody saw him report him to the police. He was treated like garbage. So that's what he thought he was. When he was 7, the police officer came over. And Ronnie's 2 sisters were standing there and said, are those your children? She said, those are my 2 girls. I don't know who that animal belongs to. He said, Ronnie just started to cry. This is what she told me? Can you imagine how bad it really was? But Ronnie never talked about it, right? He just put it inside and zipped the lip. Please, if you know anybody who's been abused in any way, you can break the silence, get some help, tell somebody, contact somebody, do whatever it takes. It's not your fault. But when he turned your age, he started to fight back. She said, I went to hit him. She grabbed her arm, and she went with the other one, and he grabbed it and said, Mom, stop. But she said, I went so ballistic, she went down and she bit Ronnie on the wrist. And it went down to his bone. And Ronnie had to get stitches because his own mom bit him. I wish that didn't happen. I wish I made up for a shock value, but it really happened. But I still can't okay what Ronnie did. Why? This year alone, they say I'll speak to close to 500,000 students. Ronnie's not the only one that doesn't come from a perfect family. You come from a decent home. You still have mom, dad, or a guardian or a grandparent you know cares. Go and say thank you. But even if you don't, I want to prove something to you before we end today. I want to tell you this, that no matter what has happened to you, you have not lost your value. The best way for me to tell you that is, well, let me show you this. I got a $5 bill here. If I was at your school, I would have took it from the principal. And I'd ask you, how much is this worth? $5, right? Good education, even online. But what if I took this $5 bill and I verbally abused it? You good for nothing $5 bill? I wish you're never even printed. You'll never be as good as your older brother, the 10. Okay, I hope you're laughing a little bit. But how much is it still worth? $5. Even though it's been verbally abused, it hasn't lost its value. But what if I physically abuse it? What if I say, take that, Lincoln? You call that a beard? Smile, you won the war. How much is it still worth? It's been physically abused and emotionally and verbally abused, but it hasn't lost its, I hope you said, value. So no matter what has happened, you haven't lost your value. If I ignore it, and the parents get divorced and spends all this time lonely and neglected, and nobody even plays Fortnite, whatever it's called with it, how much is it still worth? $5. So even if you've been abandoned or neglected, you haven't lost. If I spit on it, I'm sorry, I respect our country. That feels bad. No matter what I do, I wish this wasn't on camera, but I got to show you. What if I even took it and what if I ripped it in 2? How much is it still worth? $5. It's right, $5. But what if I ripped it in 4 pieces? Oh, look, it's got string in it. $1.25. That's advanced math. You'll get there. But even if I rip it in to 8 pieces, it still hasn't lost its value. I did this once. And I went back to the bank and I taped all of it together, and there's a piece missing. And I'm like, ha, ha, ha. But they gave me a brand new and they said this. Look at this. As long as it had the identification number on it, it hasn't lost its value. You are so much more than a number. You're a human being, and our Constitution says there is liberty and justice for all. Not just the white, not just the male, not just the rich, not just the athletic, but for all. But you know what gets me bummed out? When I rip this up, so many people freak out and somebody might want to report me. But I got to tell you this, you are worth so much more than $5, and I'd give so much more to just convince one of you that you have value, dignity that nobody can take away. Because of that, what am I not going to do with this? Throw it away. Why? It hasn't lost its value. And yet today, so many people are throwing their lives away because of what people have said to them or done to them or the mistakes they've made. Please hear me loud and clear. We can have a dignity revolution, but a holding on to a core belief, and here it is. No matter what has happened to you, you have not lost your value. I don't care what people have said to you. I don't care what people have done to you. I don't care what they put on the internet about you. I don't care what mistakes you've made. I don't care how good or how bad your family is. I don't care what has happened. You gotta know this. You have not lost your value. I did this with a student down in Indiana, and he had just come to the U.S. from Pakistan. He said, we came here for the freedoms. He came legally. But this is what he said. People beat me because of my color of my skin. They call me a terrorist. Please hear me. I looked at him and said, no matter what people have done to you, you have not lost your value. Don't throw your life away. And I gave him that $5 bill. Please hear me today. No matter what people have said, no matter what they've done to you, no matter how you've been treated, they can't take away your value. Dignity for all. I'm asking you to go to dignitypledge.com, dignitypledge.com, and take the pledge today. It's been great being with you.